In this video, I'm going to talk about 8 common mistakes that are made in American business English. My client Maru was looking for someone to help her to refine her English, and she found my website. And when she saw these 8 mistakes on my website, she felt that I understood and she trusted me to help her with her English. I talked with her a few days ago and she encouraged me to make this video. The first mistake that non-native English speakers make in business is to use the word dear or darling. Now, we use the word dear in business when we write formal emails or letters. Dear so-and-so, dear Rebecca. And so I think that might have given people the impression that it was okay to use the word dear in business. However, it really isn't. It's inappropriate to call somebody dear when doing business with them. It's inappropriate to call someone dear in business when doing business with Americans. The words dear and darling are reserved for people who are closest to us, our partner, our children. And if you call somebody dear or darling in business, it's as if you're talking down to that person. And if you're doing business with an American, that person will feel that you are not showing respect. In business, when you call someone dear or darling, it's a sign that you are above that person and you are talking down to that person. And if you want to address the person directly in business, it's fine just to use the first name. Some people will address others by saying Mr. or Mrs. or Ms., but that doesn't happen as often nowadays. And some people do that until the other person gives them permission to call them by their first name. But in general, calling someone by their first name in business is acceptable. And it's much better than dear or darling. You should never call anyone dear or darling when you're doing business with American English speakers. The second mistake that's made in American business English is misusing prepositions. And that's not just in business. Non-native English speakers many times confuse prepositions. And when you get your prepositions right, it will make a big difference in how fluent you are and the respect that you receive when you're doing business. Misusing prepositions is one of the clear signs of what we call broken English. And not only is it a sign that you're not as fluent, it can really cause misunderstandings because changing the preposition changes the meaning of the sentence. For example, she did this to you has a much different meaning from she did this for you. The next mistake that's made in English in general, not just in business English, is confusing the tenses. And using the wrong tense can really change the meaning of everything and can cause misunderstandings. And especially in business, you want to avoid misunderstandings. For example, this needs to be done today has a much different meaning from this needed to be done by today. This needs to be done today means that you're doing it today. Someone is doing it today and it has to be done. On the other hand, it needed to be done by today means that it should have been done, and it since it wasn't done, it may well be too late to do it at all. So there's a big difference in meanings. So when you use the correct tense, you have a better chance that people will understand exactly what you mean. Non-native English speakers also make this mistake when speaking English. They change the word order. People can still understand you when you change the word order, but when you do, it is a sign that you're not as proficient in English, you're not as fluent in English as you would like to be. For example, I know what will be the answer. And that's incorrect. That may sound correct to non-native English speakers, but an American would say, I know what the answer will be. One of the biggest mistakes that non-native English speakers make is not using the words do and make at the right time. They use one when they mean the other. And not only is it incorrect, but it can also change the meaning drastically. For example, make business is incorrect. We do business. And we make time. We make time for something or someone. We don't do time. The only time that we use do time is when we're talking about someone who is in prison, because doing time means being in jail. So unless you're talking about someone who is in jail, it would never make sense to say doing time. I talk about using do and make correctly in my online course and coaching program. My name is Rebecca Carlin, and the name of my business is Perfect Business English. I have an online course and one-on-one coaching program, and I help people to improve and refine their English in general, and I also help them to speak in a more professional manner. If that sounds good to you and you'd like to learn more, just go to www.perfectbusinessenglish.com. And there's more information in the description. I recommend that people not use American slang in business. Slang changes all the time, and there's just such a big chance that someone won't understand what you're saying if you use slang. And even if someone understands you, it detracts from your professional image. And although people use the casual form of words in their personal life, it's unprofessional to use words like gonna and gotta. For example, I'm gonna go or I gotta go. It just doesn't sound professional. So going to and I've got to go will really do wonders for your professional image. And that's what you're looking for when you're doing business. And this is a mistake that non-native English speakers make. Well, this is a mistake that a lot of people make in English now, using the singular form when they should be using the plural form. People are saying there is instead of there are when they're talking about something that's plural. There is a lot of people at the meeting is incorrect. The correct way to say it is there are a lot of people at the meeting. Think about the thing that you're talking about. Is it just one thing or more than one thing? If it's just one thing, use there is or theirs. For more than one, use there are. There's for one, there are for more. I find that even non-native English speakers who have a large vocabulary and speak English very well still make this mistake every now and then. So the key is to slow down, to think before you speak, and to choose your words carefully. In the next video, I'm going to talk about 11 specific mistakes that non-native English speakers make when they speak English. When you stop making them, your English will rise to an entirely new level. You can stop making them. I know you can.